Still got the video. There we go. Good evening, and welcome to the Walking Dead support group. Tonight, Alex is not with us tonight. He is out on location. So I'm taking over the center chair and lead host. My name is Keith O'Brien. To my left, I have Jason McCarthy. And joining us tonight with guest host when Alex's absence, is Mr. Vincent Hayward from our wonderful Holbrook High School. He's the principal of our local high school, and he's a fan of the show, The Walking Dead, and a fan of our show, The Walking Dead support group. So he wanted to step in and do a guest host, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, pleasure. My pleasure.
Here at the Walking Dead support group, first thing we take care of is the kill count. So we'll go to Keith with the kill count. Kill count tonight is 32. There we go, 32 zombies. Just a quick note on this, and I'm sure we'll get into it because one of our favorite characters, or hate to say it, one of Alex's favorite characters, Carol. We got 32 kills, and I'm going with the two zombies, the two walkers that were going after the girls.
Yep.
And it was apparent that Mika missed on the first one.
Yeah, by a mile.
And then boom, they were at the tracks. So we're going to assume that Carol killed those two. So 32.
All right.
So tonight's episode was called, before we get into that, as always, Jason gives us a quick hello from our Twitter followers and our Facebook followers, and usually we pick a few that have been posting this week or new. So Jason, what do you got for us?
Again, as usual, I apologize to all the names I mess up. Quick hello to some fans from Twitter, at ZombieDoc1, The Walking Dead US of A. You have to forgive me. We printed this really small tonight.
I said I was blowing it out. I said I changed the font for you.
That's all right. I'll survive.
Okay.
Megan88 at Brad Ramsey2, and a special welcome to the Predator 58, Alessandro Olivieri, who's actually a fan, our first fan from Italy. On Facebook, we have Brenda Torres, Linda Trammell, Mark Morales, Brian Roseland, and my brother and sister-in-law, Gary and Bronwyn McCarthy, actually just joined the group. Excellent. And also we have at Ralph Knack. I forgot I added him at the end there.
He's another one of the fans from Italy.
The Italian one.
The Italian one, yeah. As Alex said, there was a post going around during the week. We had a couple of ads as we say, we expanded our viewers to in the EU, and we had two viewers from Italy join us. And I think Alex actually wrote the post. We have fans from Italy. They're Italian, and that went round and round one afternoon. So tonight's episode was called Inmates, and what we'd like to do is just go around the table and we get our take, and we are going to let Vinny jump right in. So Vinny, what was your take on tonight's episode?
Well, getting the band back together, I think. I like I like it when they're on the run. I prefer when they're kind of moving about as opposed to being stationary, whether it was the prison. So my take is that we're going to find everyone coming back. It was good to see Judith survived.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Judith.
Put one of the questions to rest. Mm-hmm. So I think that was probably the, just finding out who survived, and then as the people come, make it into scenes, so to speak, people can start to really theorize and kind of predict what's next, because you have all your pieces there, and we can start to envision the puzzle. So I think laying the groundwork for what's to come.
Excellent. Yes. It was good to, as we say, we had a couple of followers on Facebook that the question was answered. Where's Judith? And even then, we got a little bit of a teaser because the girls were walking in the woods, and then they showed the back of Tyrese, and then Tyrese turns slowly. Slowly, he turns. Mm-hmm. And but there's been a lot of speculation that Judith's alive online, but there's been also a lot of speculation online that something happened to Judith. And case in point, something almost did happen to Judith. Apparently Lizzie saw the last episode of MASH, and almost suffocated the baby here. So, but Jason, what do you got for thoughts on tonight's episode?
I think Beth summed it up pretty well with her monologue. And along the lines, kind of what Benny said, the group getting back together, their struggles, the detail of their struggles, and how they're not handling it well. Mm. I didn't see anybody handle anything better than they usually do. Everybody seems to quickly go downhill. Hopefully once the group gets back together and they have some kind of governmental structure like they used to have, it fix things. But that's where we're at.
Cool. My take on it is kind of along the same lines that both of you are on, and like Vinny touched on. One of the things I had put a note, much like last week, where they started to show groups of people. Last week's episode was based on Rick and Carl and then Michonne. And one of these, in tonight's episode, I kind of like focused on, the first group was, we had Beth and Daryl together, and they find the tracks, and we'll get to that in a minute. And then we see Lizzie and her sister, Tyrese, with Judith, finds Carol, so it's another group of people from the prison. And we got Maggie in her group, and then we find out what happened to Glenn. So it's almost like, and I kind of posted it on Facebook saying that they're taking this episode and wrapping it all up. We know where all the now we know where all the characters are. Yeah. And two groups of the characters are walking the tracks. It seems on different timelines, because one of the questions I had, and give you, and you can have we can go on this real quick, is we see Beth and Daryl get to the tracks first and kill off some walkers feeding on people. Yeah. Then we see Lizzie, Mika, Tyrese. First we see Tyrese going to the tracks, and then they're all in the tracks. My question is, and I think they were there first, it's kind of like a backtrack, a little chicken and the egg episode. We've got Tyrese and the girls on the tracks, and now they're heading down the tracks in front of Beth and Daryl.
So we're still trying to figure out the sync. Where is all this happening in relation to the other groups?
Right. And that was one of the things I had said, and then I had mentioned that we know Beth and Daryl lived through a night, and we know that Tyrese and the girls seem to live through the night, but then it flashed back to Glenn, and Glenn's at the prison.
Right.
All of a sudden we find out Glenn's at the prison. He wasn't even on the bus.
Right.
And it's like Glenn's just waking up, from whatever. Did he spend a night unconscious, or did he wake up and he still needs to spend a night?
I originally thought so, but then with the placement of Tara in the scene, I thought she was sitting there for days on end.
Yeah, that's true too. So it's definitely...
It almost seems like it wouldn't have been that long. Maybe he was knocked out for perhaps just a little while. Could have been hours. I doubt it was days, though.
Days. So going along, let's try if we can get through some of these groups. And I don't think we really need to spend too much time on the Lizzie, Mika, Tyrese, Judith, except for Carol's back, which is kind of cool. So we'll skip over that. Yeah. What I like to get to is the Maggie and the bus. So let's get to the bus scene. And what are your thoughts on what happened to the bus and the outcome of the bus scene? Vinny, put you on the spot.
Well, I thought maybe Glenn got sick because he was sick and died and turned everyone into a zombie. But
interesting theory.
No such luck.
No such luck.
No such luck. But they had that promo running for a while of Glenn waking up where we found him. So I knew that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
But I don't know what could have happened that had them all trapped in there. And then, I don't know who else was on the bus from the main group that we'll ever encounter again later in the show. Because Glenn was on that bus, and then as far as main characters or core characters that we might encounter again in the future, I don't know if that.
Well, we're not going to encounter them anymore.
Well, yeah.
No, I think. Well, Jason, what do you got for the bus?
I think that could have been a trap of some sort. I didn't recognize any of the people that came off the bus.
Yeah.
Okay, that could have been a herd of walkers that could have run out of gas. Herd of walkers came across them. Small herd. They all got on the bus.
So the getaway bus
jumped out the back.
The getaway bus has a quarter tank of gas.
Well, hey, take what you can get.
Take what you can get. I mean, something obviously happened to the bus. I think it's kind of, I don't know. I would say it's kind of like you say. Did something happen to the bus? And did they run into somebody, or did somebody, to answer your question, Vinny, I don't think there's any core characters on the bus.
Yeah.
It's more like those were all the survivors from the previous attack on Woodbury that got in the prison, and it's like everybody got on the bus. I don't think the only core person, the main character would have been Glenn. But what happened to the people on the bus that caused them to stop 3 or 4 miles down the road, we'll never know. I just thought it was odd that they came across the bus, and then next thing you know, they're going one after another. Let's clear the bus. Only takes a minute to get to there. Yeah. So we clear the bus, and then poor Maggie is still distraught on where her Glenny baby is.
Another quick theory on that bus. Who's to say it wasn't the hunters that we've now met?
This is true. This is true. Now that
if they took out that bus, then any survivors would have been...
Now that the hunters have been introduced in the last 10 seconds, was like you said, did they run into him?
Right.
Because if Maggie in her group has spent the night in the woods, and Glenn and Tara haven't, so you got to get your timeline all together here. And they've come across the hunters. Did the hunters come across the bus first? On the same road.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like we've got groups on the road and we got groups on the tracks.
Yeah.
And then we've got Pudding Boy on the next town or whatever. But
it's
no Carl tonight.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's kind of cool how they did it because all the everything disoriented after the prison scene and after everything went bad there, and like the viewers are equally disoriented
Yeah.
with timelines and everything else.
Yep.
And it's kind of neat as you talk about that. I'm just thinking that's kind of the disorientation that the characters are probably feeling as you bring this up for us.
I know. That's
Trying
why
to
we're here.
analyze it.
That's
Oh,
why we're here. We're here to analyze what happened.
It's probably
Yep.
the writers trying to keep us from
Just
guessing.
keep us,
Yes.
you guys. Now,
Throw you off the track.
yeah, you'll have to throw off the tracks, which we're kind of off
not
track.
hard with us.
It's not hard with us at all.
Stay on the track.
Good reference, though. You get right to the railroad tracks.
Stay on the track.
Stay on the
Stay on
tracks.
the
Stay on the
track.
tracks.
Segues.
Stay on the tracks. The Beth and Daryl kind of scene kind of was like, I don't know, that kind of got wrapped up with all our previews. You know, they had the campfire.
Yeah.
You know, you're a hunter, and they're tracking, and they find, like I said, they find the tracks, which seems like they find the tracks after Tyrese and his group, so they're behind them. Thought I shut that off, but who cares? Now, Lizzie, Mika, Tyrese, Judith, and Carol. Now that little group, we're sure we got plenty of fans out there that are happy that Carol's back. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, I keep seeing Carol, and my first thought is how scared of what Tyrese's reaction was going to be she wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she didn't know if he was going to come up and
Yeah.
stab her or hug her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it was the latter, but could have just as easily been the former had they had a talk with Rick.
Yeah.
So that to me confirms that she killed those two way back.
Right.
Yeah.
But Lizzie, my next favorite kid on the show.
Oh, psycho.
Psycho, very psycho. Psycho Lizzie said something to Tyrese. What's Sasha? So she
Yeah.
mentioned Sasha.
Like,
Right?
Sasha's not here anymore.
Sasha's not here anymore. She
Right.
says Sasha's not here anymore, which made me think, oh, the kids and Carol are either in cahoots or the kids did it. You know, the kids. I understand what you're saying. The
Yeah.
kids did it. Carol's now. Tyrese thinks Carol did it, or because Rick told her, and now they're interacting. You know, they're walking down the tracks
Yeah.
together. So, any thoughts? Carol, what do you think of Carol?
Maybe Carol was covering up for
You're a
Lizzie.
guest host. Give us your favorite character. I'm going to add that tonight. Give us your thought on Carol, and then give me your favorite character.
Thoughts on Carol? Maybe Carol was Lizzie's twisted. She's definitely out there. I think she was killing that little bunny in the corner.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I thought
At
she was
one
killing
point,
Judith.
Maybe killing Judith. Maybe she burned the bodies and
I'm a firm believer
Carol-
that the kids
Carol
are involved.
might have,
Carol's covering up the
kind
burn.
of covered it up. So and I like Carol as a character. She's when you're getting down and people are dying off, you need people who are capable.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they need her just because they're running thin, and the people from Woodbury were like dead weight. Favorite character is Daryl.
Daryl's your favorite
Crossbow. Yeah, I mean,
He's a Daryl guy.
yeah. I'm sorry, I'm a Daryl guy. Probably like
Sorry,
all
nobody's perfect.
all the other.
You know you got to share
all
him,
the
right?
other,
You got to share him with all the women,
all the
right?
14-year-old girls.
You know
yeah.
you got to share him. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as long as you got
I
you
know.
got to share him. You can have your,
I like the motorcycle and the crossbow. That type of stuff.
There you go. I said that tonight too. He
It's
lost
called
his motorcycle.
badassery.
Yeah.
Badass. See what happens when Alex.
Yeah.
The big words come out.
The new words.
The new words.
I've coined a lot of phrases in my time. Not much makes sense.
Yeah. We got the thing. Hopefully it's working. All right. So, let's get into the show favorites. Favorite kill of the night. I'm gonna go with Jason first. Jason, what's your favorite kill?
I was convinced up until Tara's 10 headshots to that last zombie. Just the governor-style kill called overkill. But the head bashed off the bus was, I don't know. I'm still torn. It's one of those two.
One of those two. We gotta have one.
I have to pick one?
You gotta pick one so you don't steal two.
Oh, well, I'm used to doing that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Busted.
Busted.
Yeah.
Busted.
Yeah, but you put on Facebook. Busted was the kill in the bus. Or are you going with Maggie's
kill
head
off
crash?
the bus.
Kill
That's
the
the-
Maggie
yeah.
head crush.
Yes.
Okay, so there's your favorite kill of the night. Vinny, what do you got for a favorite kill?
I'll go with Tara
Yeah, with Tara.
with the overkill. I didn't expect that at all. I did not expect that. It was kind of like the shell shock when you run out of bullets and you're still squeezing the trigger. Except there was no bullets involved. She
But
just
Beth
kept
did that
going.
tonight.
Yeah, she just kept going. So because it was unexpected.
That's good. No,
It was
that's what
intense.
makes her a good and efficient killer.
Yeah.
In your opinion, when you run out of bullets, just to turn the rifle around and just butt smack him. And
Yeah.
she
That
butt
makes
smacked
her an
him.
overachiever.
Yeah, I almost started
Yes.
hitting the clicker. As people who don't know, I keep track of the kills with a clicker, so I can watch the screen and hit a clicker.
Yeah.
And she started bashing the head in with the buttstock, and I just wanted to start clicking away
Yeah.
because that's like click, 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 but it's really just smashing the head.
He would have been dead with each one of those hits.
Would have been dead with those units. My favorite kill is along the bus lines. What I like was Maggie standing there, and they said we're gonna let them one at a time, and she says I gotta stand out in front and let them out one at a time because I gotta see their faces. And that was my favorite kill moment, shall we say, of the night, because she's letting them out one at a time because they know the bus is full of walkers, and she's going to take them out one at a time so she can see their faces, and hopefully she doesn't see Glenn. In her minds, we know Glenn's alive.
Right.
And she just kills them, one by one, or she got some help because they all came out of the bus at times. So that's my favorite kill right there. But I like both of yours too. I had those written down, so that's good. There wasn't too many, so I'd be interested to see what you guys have for favorite line of the night. And I'm going to go first, so I don't go stolen. My favorite line of the night kind of goes on lines with where I think they get the episode name Inmates, because they kept showing that sign on the side of the road. So my line of the night is hitchhikers, maybe escaped inmates. Because I've seen that sign like out on a Mass Pike. I've seen it out on like different highways across when you drive around. So I like that. And now it makes sense why they call this show Inmates, because they're all in the woods outside the prison, and all our favorite characters are inmates.
Right.
And they're on the loose, and they're not hitchhiking. But that's my line of the night. Hitchhikers, maybe escaped inmates. Jason, you got a favorite line?
Yeah, but I can't say it.
Well, you can change the words around.
All right, I will. I'll change the last
Oh, you know
word.
what? You could say it in Italian.
No, I can't, just because
It's a
I'm
shout
not
out.
taking that
Just shout
chance.
it.
That was Taris when she said, "Oh man, I am a piece of crap."
Crap.
Crap.
She's a
That's
piece
what
of
we use
crap.
that word.
If you saw the show, you know what you used. So that's a good line. That was the line of the night. Vinny, you got a line of the night?
Yeah, my favorite line, being a guest here, and first time I ever watched a show with anyone other than my wife, was when Jay said "busted."
Oh, busted.
When he just said it while we were watching.
Oh,
the
we were
show.
watching in the other room. So,
So
that
my
line of
favorite
the night-
line was actually not in the show.
Yep.
It was Jay talking about the show. So that was my favorite line.
All right. Just real quick, I put it out there for people to post online on Facebook. Give me your favorite line or kill. So I'll just run down these real quick. There's a few. Our good friend from Colorado, Sarah, wrote favorite moment was Abe, which is one of the hunters, because she's a big comic book person.
Yeah, she was
Fan.
really looking forward to him coming
She's
around.
really looking for the hunters.
Yep.
So Abe is for those who don't know, that don't follow the comic book, and I don't, but I know this one. Abe is the person that you saw at the end of the episode off of the truck talking to Tara.
Yep.
I think this is a new follower, Senya. Tara bashing in the head of the walker that grabbed Glenn, and the favorite moment was Carol showing up. That would have been Alex's favorite moment too, Carol showing up. Sarah's got two, was Maggie's head bashing kill. So that's along the lines with you. That's from Sarah again. That's really. Michael, which is M-I-K-A-L, McCall, or Michael. If I butchered it, I'm sorry. It'll get to me tomorrow when he watches it on YouTube. He's got the bus full of walkers, along the lines with me. Vinny DiGiacomo, favorite kill and moment, Crazy Maggie on the bus. So he's putting them both together, which is good. But there's so many good ones. So that's it. So that's all we got online. So that's it for that. And favorite moments from tonight's show, kind of a free-for-all. So what does everybody got for like a favorite moment of the show?
I loved when Glenn had all that gear on and just charged the herd of walkers.
Yeah.
That took
Me too.
cojones.
Yeah.
That was something that.
That was good.
Yeah, well, it was very good.
It was good. I was a little panicky when he ran into the herd
And they
and they swallowed him.
Yeah.
But one of the things I wrote down on Facebook, and Glenn has come along a long way in this show.
Yeah.
This is for anybody that's been watching, with New Year's and the Super Bowl, people get caught up. We get new fans, and you watch Glenn in the beginning, and he was just a simple kid that everybody worries about, or he's like, oh, that kid's a wimp. He's not going to last long. Now all of a sudden he's alone. He gets back in. People are saying don't shut the door online. He gets to the thing. He goes right back to his cell, and he's got a go bag.
Yeah.
He's got a zombie apocalypse go bag. He pulls out his riot gear, and he gets a knife, and he gets a backpack. I think he must have. I'm assuming he loaded up on some ammo. He got his riot gear on. He was walking around like Steve Martin at the end of The Jerk, but he was doing it much better than Steve Martin. You know, he's like, oh, I just want this lamp in this chair. No, he took everything that he needed, and you know, that was one of the great things. Another favorite moment of the show was I liked Beth's monologue in the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
I really did. That kind of tied a lot of that part of the show together. Because I think the whole Beth and Daryl interaction really wasn't that good for the show. Sorry, Daryl fans won't like that. But I just don't think that was a good portion of the show, other than Beth's monologue, and then she tore a page out of her. I'm assuming she's writing in a diary, and she tore a page out.
It seems like she's writing to her mother.
Maybe, but she's definitely writing in like a journal,
Right.
and I don't remember her writing in it earlier, but maybe somebody's going to chime in and say yes. But then she tore a page out for whatever reason and threw it in the fire. So, got a favorite moment, Dan? Mr.
Again, I'm a fan of the Walking Dead support group, Alex and so on, and you guys. What
This
you
is
do.
his favorite moment right here.
My favorite moment was you with the pitch counter. Being the former Holbrook High School baseball coach, when you pulled up the
You
pitch
know,
counter,
you know.
I knew exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of time in between clicking mine, so I felt for you.
It's the only way I can keep track.
Yeah, so that was my favorite moment
right in my pocket. And
of this show. I too liked it when Glenn came out in the tactical gear. That was intense, and it kind of goes back to his whole MO when you first meet him at the beginning of this. He's kind of a runner. He's kind of the guy who can dart into trouble, and then he's kind of evolved to the guy who runs to trouble as away from trouble. And he kind of had to go back to that whole grab you got to go bag and dart in, dart out, and and that's kind of how he was when he went to Rick in the tank and that whole thing. He was that was his whole MO.
Yeah,
he's doing all this
and get in. So
and he's kind of like you said, he's half sick. But he had, and that's part of the thing I mean, I enjoy the show. I enjoy doing this. I'm not big. I've started to read some of the comics. I've started to read some of the comics online that we see from our fans. But I'm not a big comic book guy, and a comic book for the show. And but I did like the fact that, like you said, he was ready to go. He's the guy that everybody is now leaning on as Glenn. I think he's going to be an important character. I just hope they don't kill him off, which I'm sure they're going to get rid of him sooner or later.
Like you said earlier, the growth of character. We could do an entire show, like an hour show, even more.
Of just one character.
Just one, but I mean, just how each character has grown.
Right.
Immensely in the last 4 seasons.
4 seasons.
Yeah. It's incredible.
As time goes on. What else? All right. So that covers our basic topics. We got about 5-6 minutes to go. So we'll go into next week's episode is called Claimed. I didn't write anything down on a synopsis on that. I didn't look it up, and I apologize. But it's called Claimed. Do we have any predictions based on that? Now that we saw at the end of the episode, we see the hunters pull up. When we all wondered was the word on the map on the track said terminus, which means end of the line, and we thought maybe if the hunters are out there, are they there? But now we see Tara and Glenn getting met up by the hunters, and Abe. So are they going to have something to do with the show, and does that have something to do with Claimed? So what do we have for predictions for next week based on that?
Well,
Jason.
If you remember, what's the guy's name again?
Abe.
If you remember what Abe said to Tara at the end.
Abe, Rosalita, and some other guy. But Abe's the guy that was on
Right.
Yeah.
If you remember, Abe said to Tara, what else you got?
Yeah.
They're gonna just take everything they can from these people. Ammo, supplies, doesn't matter. And if they don't just take everything that they have, they'll take them too.
Yeah.
That's my guess. I think that's where
Claim.
it's going with Claim.
I like that, though. It makes sense. Vinny?
Well, obviously the title Claimed. We saw Inmates was aptly titled tonight. I like your analogy in walking on the tracks, and they're all hitchhikers. So I think it's probably going to be equally tied to what's going on with the title next week. It's funny, not being a comic book fan either, the hunters seem more like gatherers, where they kind of put it out there and wait for the stuff to come to them.
Right.
As opposed to necessarily
Doing any
tracking it
actual
down.
hunting.
They're letting people come to them with the come here for safety,
wonder if that is
sanctuary,
them.
and so on. So I wonder if that's the same group. I don't know, or
Yeah.
the hunt is a separate thing from this terminus thing. I
good
don't know,
question.
but it seems like the hunt is coming off as gatherers, where they just kind of gather up people's stuff.
Yeah,
So that could be the claim.
it's a very interesting theory. I mean, I can agree with both of that because I didn't really have a theory on that. But as you say, they're hunters, and we don't know the hunters from the comic book series, but we know our fans do. So as people watch this show on YouTube, and then they interact on Monday and Tuesday, we'll get the whole comic back thing. But I mean, like you say, are they hunting walkers, or are they hunting people or groups, as you say, and claiming their goods?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I personally, one of the things I loved about this show, about this episode, was that we saw all the characters get tied up. We know where they are. Now we just got to get them together. And I'm kind of hoping that they're going to, I was thinking that they would claim something else. Like they claimed the prison, and we see Beth's monologue talking about the beginning where they found the prison, and her father said we can make something of it. Now they have to get back together and maybe claim something else for the greater good. But
plan.
they're obviously, that's not going to happen. I'm just personally just happy that these groups didn't take forever to get together. My worst fear was going to be 5 or
Yep.
6 episodes. You know, an episode of Beth and Daryl, an episode of the kids, as we
Yeah.
see it now, an episode of Maggie, and a whole episode. That's 4 episodes. Then we get the Hunters, and then we get a season cliffhanger. So as we've been told, or people have
Yeah.
talked online, they predicted that the show would be, they said it would be dark. I don't know if tonight's episode was dark. There was a lot more action tonight than there was last night. But it's definitely moving faster at a very faster rate, especially for me.
Yeah.
So, any final thoughts, Jason?
Typically, try to throw in some other topics. What do you think about the someone gets bit, leaving them behind instead of killing them? I mean, it's the mercy kill. You saw it tonight. 2 guys got bit. They didn't kill either one. Isn't that almost cold and almost inhuman to let them turn into these things?
It is, and the funny thing is Carol was there, and she had her hand on a knife. I thought Carol was going to nail that guy.
Yeah.
You know, but the funny thing is, and again, we don't know the timetable, and they've always talked about it, how long people turn. That guy obviously turned and was munching on the other dead remains when Daryl and Beth show up.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, all right, if you're bit, I'm putting you down.
Thank
Hands
you.
down.
Thank you.
Are we,
If that
right?
happens to me.
All right, because like I said, I'm into the Walking Dead for Zombie Apocalypse 101.
Yeah.
So here it is, free and in. If Zombie Apocalypse, I'm putting you down.
I think it's kinda,
Mercy kill. I'm going with
Yeah.
Jason's mercy kill.
Thank you.
I think it's kind of like setting landmines. You know, you got to know where they are, otherwise
I
you
like
might come
that.
back and
You're setting
you know,
landmines.
Exactly.
that mine might get you. So I mean, I think if you have the opportunity, you either gotta take it out or
Almost
you
like
know,
last
you
week.
gotta, because you might be coming back down that road.
Mhm.
So I just think, smart. You should probably, there's I think the governor said there's more of them than us.
Eventually, you're going
But-
to run out of walkers to kill, maybe.
I don't. Well, not really, because a busload drove off and they turned into walkers.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's going to be plenty. So that, I want to thank everybody for tuning in at home, or for those who watch it on YouTube tomorrow. Feel free to chime in on social media, Facebook or Twitter. I want to again thank Vinny Hayward for joining us tonight. Thank
Thanks,
you,
it
Vinny.
was a pleasure, guys. Appreciate
Thanks for
you
stopping
having me
by.
on.
I know it's a school night, so
February
it's February school vacation, so I know you can stay out late.
Yes.
So I know that's why you joined us tonight. You picked a non-school night to join us, so
Got me.
thinking on you. Just want to mention real quick, next week's episode we'll have another guest host joining us in studio. It's going to be Cynthia Rogers coming up to do the show with us. She's been a big fan. She's been a follower of ours since pretty much the show started. You can follow her on Facebook. Just do a search, or she's on the Walking Dead Support Group's Facebook page. Also on Twitter, you can follow us there. And on either one of those websites, you can see a link to get our new Walking Dead Support Group, what's the word?
T-shirt?
T-shirt. Yeah, but I was thinking second edition. Second edition.
yeah.
Second edition T-shirts are on sale, and the T-shirts are going to be sold off. I think they're $25 a piece, and it's to help offset the costs to Jason, myself, and Alex to maybe attend the Boston Comic Con or some of the other local Walker Stalker cons or anything that comes up in our area. So we ask you to check us out there for comments. And thank you and have a good night.
Good night.